Hey everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of the Mike Muldoon podcast. I'm your host, Mike Muldoon. So I'm so glad you can join me today. So this week I want to talk about how we gotta be better to ourselves. How we gotta treat ourselves better. In our journey through life, it's so common to encounter moments of self-doubt, disappointment, failure. And during these times, we often become our harshest critics. We punish ourselves with negative self-talk and holding ourselves in these impossibly high standards. However, it's important to remember that being too hard on yourself can actually have detrimental effects on your well-being. See, the thing is, it's so important that you find time and you really develop a need to have some self-compassion. Odds are you're okay. I mean, you might not feel that way, but you probably are. And if you're not, it might just be because you're being way too hard on yourself. See, think about having self-compassion. It can transform like how you perceive yourself, and it's going to help you navigate through life's challenges, and it's going to help lead you to happier and more fulfilling life. See, the easiest way to generate self-compassion, and well, I guess I say that it might not be easy for some, but for most of us, if we can really just do this one thing, if we can really understand this, which is we need to learn to embrace our imperfections. And what that means is stop being so hard on yourself. See, the thing is, we all make mistakes. We all make bad decisions and experience all these setbacks at times along the way. It's just part of being a human being. But you got to embrace these moments because it's here that we foster self-growth. And this is where we develop a more realistic outlook on our abilities. It's funny, this past week on my Instagram, yes, I did something on Instagram this week. Some days I get motivated and I get some things done. I'm like, yeah, I'm on Instagram and I'm marketing. But I put this picture. It's a really beautiful picture I came across. And it's of a railroad track. But the railroad track is just all messed up. If you go to my Instagram, you'll see it. It's literally like broken and bent, and it's kind of going along the side of like a wall, like a riverbed. I don't know how to really describe it. Anyway, it's all twisted and turned, and it's not a usable track. And my post on it was, it is, on your track of life, this part of the track is where you grow the most. It's when the track's not perfect, when there's obstacles, when there's things in your ways and it's chaotic. That's where we learn. And sometimes the only way we get to that piece of the track is by maybe doing things wrong or having setbacks or, having failures. But it's along this track here that, is where we're going to grow the most. So when you're on this track of life right now where everything seems to be going wrong, don't judge yourself so harshly. Understand that track is there for a reason. You're going through it and it's going to help you. And on this track, if you're dealing with any failures or anything, rather than viewing these failures or mistakes as like permanent shortcomings of your life, you just got to shift your perspective to see them as a valuable learning opportunity. This is an opportunity. Be kind to yourself, right? It just acknowledge too, here's the thing. You're not the only one. We've all heard it. We've heard it since we're kids. Nobody is perfect. Nobody's perfect. Even if you think they're perfect, they're not perfect because there's a pretty good chance that they don't see themselves as perfect, which means they might be even a little bit harder on themselves, right? But everybody encounters obstacles. But when you can turn these setbacks or these perceived failures in your life into stepping stones for like personal and professional growth, then that's where you're going to truly move forward in your life. See, the thing is, remember, even some of the most successful people, successful individuals in life, they've all faced failures and setbacks on their journey to success. Now, again, I want to talk about success here. Success doesn't have to be some sort of monetary thing, some sort of riches thing, some sort of power thing, some sort of popularity thing. Success is whatever is important to you that you're doing that keeps you happy. Success is getting up every morning and just looking at the day and being completely content and happy that you're living the life you want to live, right? So let's just not associate success with some sort of financial gain or power. It could be, and that's great. And it might be both of that for you. You know, you might have success in your business, making a lot of money, but you're also very happy and content in a way that, like, I am living the life that I want to be living right now. So, but listen, you can't beat yourself up. Being too hard on yourself is draining. Being too hard on yourself really serves no purpose in your life. And other than that, it can create like all this unnecessary suffering. It impacts your mental and emotional well-being. If you're constantly criticizing yourself, it can lead to stress, anxiety. For some, it can even lead to depression. So treat yourself better. Be more understanding and forgive. See, this nurturing approach, that you might not be used to is actually going to promote emotional resilience. It's going to help you reduce the negative self-talk of, I'm a failure, I can't do this, everything I do is wrong, all this. And it's going to allow you to sort of bounce back from more difficult experiences with ease. So if you have a setback, if you get good at this, you develop the skill, it's going to help you go, well, it's okay. I'm here. Boom. But I've been here. I know how to do this. You know what? It's just a setback. I'm not going to beat myself up about it. And you're going to be able to move forward. The wild thing about, generating more self-compassion toward yourself is that it's going to actually help you build better relationships with others. See, the thing is, and it's going to actually help them sort of have permission to do it themselves. Right? Because a lot of things that we do, that we project to the world, can actually cause a ripple effect to others, right? So when you start developing more self-compassion, when you're easy on yourself, you actually cultivate a sense of empathy and understanding, which extends to your interactions with others. So basically, by modeling self-compassion, like something goes wrong and don't beat yourself up about it, and say, hey, this is a great learning experience here. And, there's something to be gained from here, and it's not a failure, and it's okay. And I messed up, but it's all right. I'm going to, just bounce back, keep moving forward and do it. You're basically creating a more supportive and compassionate environment that fosters these healthier relationships with people, and it deepens your connections with them around you. Because guess what? You're only human. And just so we're clear here, when I say, developing more self-compassion, what I'm saying here, or what I'm not saying here, is I don't mean that you're going to get complacent or lazy. In fact, you're going to be treating yourself with kindness and understanding, which is going to be a more powerful motivator in your life, because instead of relying on self-criticism as your driving force, being hard on yourself, your self-compassion is going to allow you to acknowledge your efforts, celebrate your achievements, and foster growth mindset. It was interesting because I was having this conversation with my brother just a little while ago, and my brother is an incredibly hard worker. Both of my brothers are incredibly hard workers. But I was talking to my older brother, and, a few weeks ago, he was like beating himself up about this stuff. He's got this new company he's running. He's doing really well, but he was beating himself up about all this stuff. And it was funny because I was talking about tonight, well, I got to go record my podcast. He's like, well, what's it going to be on? What's it this week? And I started telling him, I said, T, it's interesting because this reminds me a little bit of you. A couple of weeks ago, you were beating yourself up on it. And some people use beating themselves up as a motivator to move forward, but you don't necessarily have to do that. You can just use self-compassion. Acknowledge, hey, man, look where you're at. That's what I was telling him. I said, look what you've done over the last 2 years. Look at, celebrate that achievement, look, and it just keeps getting better and better and better for you. Now, overall, I'll say my brother's a pretty optimistic guy, but it was just an interesting thing. And he was like, oh, yeah, I see that. And the thing is, the more positive reinforcement you have, it's going to fuel your motivation, and it's going to encourage you to keep striving for, personal and professional progress, even in the face of adversity or setbacks. When I was thinking about this one, I couldn't help but think of Thomas Edison. We all know Thomas Edison and all the inventions he had, but Thomas Edison, when he discovered the light bulb, he had so many failures, but he didn't beat himself up. I mean, sure, there's probably frustration along the way, but in the end, he didn't look at them as failures. And when he was asked about it, he stated, I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. I'll talk about having some self-compassion. Now, I'm sure while he was doing it, there was some frustrations along the way, but you don't get to where he said there, or have that sort of insight without understanding the need to realize that things aren't going to be perfect. They're going to be setbacks. And if you can manage them well enough and not give up, right? Because most people will give up when things get tough. If you're not going to give up, then you're going to find the success or fix the problem or solve the thing that you're trying to get to. So in short here today, and trying to keep this one extremely short, I know I've run a little bit longer on some past episodes, just be nicer to yourself. Celebrate your small victories. Don't beat yourself up on your setbacks, or don't beat yourself up on past failures. Just be good to you. All right. That's all I got this week for this week's episode of the Mike Muldoon podcast. Feel free to check me out again on MikeMuldoonLC.com to visit my website if you want to set up a session to have a conversation, talk. It's always, first session with me is always just a consultation, see if we actually want to work together. And to be honest with you, I've had people reach out to me and I've been able to work with people on one session. They're like, this has been great. And I think I've kind of helped them out. And also on my Instagram at Mike Muldoon LC as well. Again, I keep trying. I don't know about social media sometimes. I feel like it's just so much going on there. But I will keep doing it to talk to you, and I enjoy your comments. I enjoy your messages. And as always, I want you to enjoy your weekend. And, I've got nothing but love for you.